What's up, guys? I wanted to talk a little bit about the state of gaming early 2018 right now. And before I get into that, I do want to mention my thoughts uh, on the NASCAR Rush mobile game. I haven't played it, and somebody asked about it. They wanted to know what I thought of it. And I have to be honest, I haven't played it. I didn't get it. So it would not be fair for me to really critique it too much. But I'm going to give you a general idea of what I think of it. I did check it out on online. I looked at it on YouTube videos and stuff like that. I did a little reading on it. And basically, the game, from what I could see, is a game that I played. I've already played this game like 30, 35 years ago. But back then they called it Frogger. So for what it looks like to me is it's a NASCAR themed Frogger. Now I know it sounds like I'm saying it's not a good game or that it looks like crap. I'm just telling you that that's what the gameplay looks like. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It looks like it could be somewhat entertaining. Now, when it comes to mobile games, I couldn't care less. It's not something I'm into. I do have one mobile game on my phone, which is a Texas Hold'em poker game. So it's a pretty straight up card game. But the purpose for me of a mobile game is to kill time, like in certain situations. So we all have like moments where you're just sitting somewhere and you have nowhere to go. Like maybe you're at a waiting room at the doctor's office, or you are at the airport and your flight's delayed. You're just sitting around trying to kill time, or maybe you're at the local precinct and you're waiting to speak to somebody because they want to question you because they think you punched Kevin Harvick in the face. You know, whatever the reason is, maybe you're just looking to kill time. So we all have those moments, and then what do? You're just browsing through your cell phone, and if you got Candy Crush or something like that, it's great to kill time. So I play poker, but that's what I see all mobile games as. I don't take it that serious. And for what it is, the game does look like it. You could kill some time with it. So I can't really say much more than that because I haven't played it myself. But it looks like Frogger, just a NASCAR themed type of game. If those of you who aren't as old as I am and don't remember what Frogger was, it was a game where very easy game. I mean, simple gameplay, and you're trying to cross the street without getting hit by a car. So yeah, it's mildly entertaining and stuff like that, but that's how the gameplay is. You're just kind of shifting through traffic, you know, in an actual race. So I can't really say much more than that. Um, I've always been concerned about 704 and this decision to make mobile games as well and stuff. I'm not crazy about it. And the reason for that is, as I've said before, I just have a feeling like, you're focusing on something when you should be 100% focused on the main product, which is the console NASCAR game. So I could be wrong. Maybe they just have a couple guys who have nothing to do with the main product, and they're just the ones working on that. I could be wrong about that. I'm assuming because they're a small company. I just don't like the idea. But you know what? I can't tell these guys what to do. They're in business to make money, and these mobile games look like a cash cow because even when they're free to download, they are full of microtransactions and stuff like that. But I can almost understand that business model for a mobile game that's free. You download it, you play it, And as long as they give you just enough where you can play the game and you don't have to purchase microtransactions to move progress in the game, I could live with it. But that's only in like these mobile games and stuff, and you should know what you're getting into when you go in. I'm totally against microtransactions and most DLC when it comes to purchasing a video game. You know, you paid $60 for a game. Why are you constantly in my fucking pockets? That pisses me off. And when they first started with this DLC shit years ago, and it was just skins and harmless stuff, just a couple of appearance things that really had nothing to do with the overall game. It didn't affect your progress in the game or the competitiveness of it. It was just trinkets and skins and really meaningless stuff. But the reason that it bothered me when it first started, and it bothered a lot of people, was because it was a Pandora's box. And I knew that I know how these people think. And it's business. This is the way just capitalism works. And where there's money to be made, people will exploit and milk something until there's nothing left. So what happens is they made some money with these skins and these meaningless trinkets. But then they said, well, why don't we make it so that people feel more compelled and forced to buy this stuff in order to progress in the game or to be competitive online? And that is naturally where it's always going to lead there. And because there's no real regulation in the video game development, these people can pretty much do whatever they want. And it's really up to the public to keep these people in check. And the public has done a very bad job of keeping them in check because you got enough people going out and buying this garbage. It just justifies the reasoning behind it. And these people just say, well, it's making money. People must be okay with it. Let's just push it further. So I'm not going to go too much further into that, but now you had Konami and EA. They are at war, right? And not with each other, but they're sort of battling it out to see who can be the worst, scummiest game developers. And you got Konami, who has taken Metal Gear. They came out with this garbage Metal Gear Survive, and they actually charge people money for a save slot. $10 for one fucking save slot. And it's almost like taking a shit in a box and selling it to you. And then they come back to you and then they want to sell you a bag of piss as DLC. It's like, don't you feel insulted by now by these people? And I keep telling you guys, if you don't buy this shit, it will go away. They're not going to keep spending money to make this shit and nobody's buying it. Now, EA kind of took a step back and they got rid of the microtransactions that had to do with game progression for Battlefront. But they kept all the purchasable microtransactions and DLC. They kept it for like cosmetic shit, right? So they said, all the other stuff you earn playing the game. But they were shamed into doing that. They were forced into doing that because of the backlash from the public. But they should never have done it to begin with. It's like when they finally do something that was the right thing to do, it was only because they were forced to do it. And that's how capitalism works. That's how these corporations work. And as long as they can get away with something, they're just going to keep pushing the envelope. But now EA did something else. So they saw Konami. They're like, look, these guys are selling save slots. So what can we do to be even more scummier? So they took Sim City or whatever it is. It's I mean, I've never played it, but it's a simulation type of game where you build your own world, your own city with your own characters. and you kind of watch them interact in this world. It's just weird. I'm not gonna mock it because I'm sure I kind of get the appeal, like to be able to create your own world and with living, breathing people in it and see how certain scenarios play out. I can understand the appeal of it. It's not for me, but I get it. And the Sim City franchise has been very popular, but now they came out with this DLC that's not just regular DLC, but they took the regular DLC, and instead of selling you a pack with a bunch of shit, they've divided each pack into smaller packs and divided those packs into even smaller packs still. So when you see all the packs, and I'm talking about things like they have a pet pack, so you can have pets, and then that's divided into another pack. It's just, you got $10 packs, $20 packs, $30. It's ridiculous. But each pack has something that adds something to this sim world, okay? Whatever it is. I can't get into too much detail because I don't know much about that franchise. But I put a link in the description box from a guy named Yongyea. He has his own channel. The guy's really good, and he talks a lot about these microtransactions and all this other stuff. So you should check him out. And I put the description to the link to the video in the box so that you guys can take the time and go check it out because he does a much better job than I ever could at explaining all of this shit that's going on. And you could see for yourself how terrible it is. And EA and Konami, they're like a couple of the worst game developers that exist today. And you can, if you want to see why, go check that video. So that's where we are today. I mean, it's early 2018, and all we fucking have is bullshit DLC and microtransactions, and what I don't see is great video games being released or even talked about being released anytime soon. Okay, the best game that I can see coming this year, in my opinion, is Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm sure it's going to blow people away. Rockstar does high quality work. But as much as I love Rockstar, I'm telling you now, I got a feeling there's going to be some shit in there that's going to piss people off in terms of microtransactions. And I'm telling you guys that I believe that's why they keep delaying this fucking game. So now it's supposed to come out in the fall. I talked about this in a previous video. So, but I don't see too much else to get excited about this year. The next NASCAR game, we know nothing about it yet. And it's going to be the third one from 704. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, as I give these guys a lot of credit for the last game because they took some big steps forward and they did show that they have the capability of providing a better product. But I'll tell you something else. This is going to be their third game. I'm expecting a fully fleshed out game. I don't want to see anything missing from it. I'm not going to get into details. I've gotten into details. I did a video about, my wish list for the next game, whatever. But there are basic there's basic things about this game in terms of AI and making sure that the AI is smarter, get them to spread out more. The pitch strategy has to be fixed. And most of all, the competitiveness has to be brought up. This game is too fucking easy. And when it comes to a race game, the one thing you gotta nail is the racing. And if it's not competitive, then it's worthless. So I'm expecting all that to get fixed. And I want a fully fleshed out game. I don't want to fucking get a game and then talk about how there's no paint booth, or there's no stats, or the stats that are there are inadequate, or there's no presentation. That's the biggest thing missing from this game. There's absolutely almost no presentation. There's nothing that happens between races. You go from one race to the next, and it's like, that's all it is an exercise. You show up to the race, you race, and then you go to the next race, and then you race, and then you go to the next race. NASCAR is more than just what happens on the track on race day. There's practice. There's what happens back at the race shop. There's career building aspects. There's customization. There's a lot that you can do. Contracts, deals with advertisers, um, all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've seen 2K Sports do it much better with the 2K franchise for NBA. Yeah, they're going downhill fast too because they also have that disease of microtransactions that's affecting everybody. But yeah, you know what? At one point, they did to me what was the ultimate career mode for a sports game. You know, maybe you got to go back a few years ago to get really to see it at its best, but you had everything in it. Lots of presentation, lots of stuff that happened between games, practice, contract negotiations, commercial endorsements. That it's so much happened in those games, and you had all the stats you could want, and you really felt like you were part of a real career that you were building. And that's just as important as what happens on the basketball court. And that's what I want to see for NASCAR. And we got to get a fully fleshed out game this time. If you got if you got a bunch of shit missing, it's not going to cut it. And I'm going to be fucking pissed, man. I mean, I've had it with these fucking half baby steps. You pay for a full game every year and you only get these baby steps. So you can't do that this year. I want to see what you've been doing for this year. And we haven't heard anything yet about what's coming. But I'm hoping for good things because I cannot keep supporting this franchise when you're not providing just a fully fleshed out game. That's all people really want. And you're paying full price for a game and you're getting games with things missing that we used to get. And this is it, man. This is make or break for me. And I'm gonna be very critical of this game. And I'm not expecting perfection, but man, you got to give us a fully fleshed out game. You can't just give us what you've been giving us. And the tracks are already built, the cars and all that. You're not building a game from the ground up anymore. So this is the third iteration of the game. You better bring it, man. And you that's all I got to say. So what do you guys think about all this stuff going on? And do you feel the way I do? I mean, I think the third time out, we should all be able to say, I'm expecting a fully fleshed out game. That's what we're looking forward to. We're giving our hard-earned money for that stuff. And, you can't just come out and just give us incremental, improvements and then say, hopefully they'll buy next year's game hoping that they get a little more. Can't do that. You got to step up. So what do you guys think? I look forward to your comments.